Freeholders, Gerald, we ready? The freeholders meeting will come to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad.
Present.
Alderman Gunther.
Here.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Present.
Chairman Moore.
Present.
7 present, you have quorum.
When I was running for office, my opponent put out a statement to say that I had the worst record of attendance in the Board of Aldermen. That's because I was very sick. But I'm making up for it now with this freeholders. This is absolutely amazing how many times we met about this very, very, very unfair process to the north side of St. Louis City. I keep reminding you that I am serious about being the mayor of the North City because it's not represented. And we have a right to choose the people that we want to represent us, not what the mayor chooses. And don't get me wrong, I am not fighting the mayor. I want this process to go through, but it's got to be a fairer process. And this process is not fair. They call all the African American names that's on the list, but those are not the African Americans that we chose. We have the opportunity and the know-how to pick who we want to take us further in this process. So I would, if the panel want to speak, but I'm going to call for a process. I want to recess this meeting until we get a fair process and get the names accepted. We have chose some names that we want to be placed on the applicant list and for the mayor to accept. She wrote a letter, I wrote a letter, the post got it before I did. But the process is too unfair to continue like this, and we're gonna recess this meeting unless the committee wants to say something. But I'm saying that I want to recess this meeting until tomorrow at 2:30. Another day in City Hall. So I'll start with Alderwoman Tyus, if you'd like to speak.
Just for a second. First, I want to thank the chair for all the work that he's been doing. He has been working. I've been working closely with him. I'm disappointed in the actions of the mayor's office because we tried to keep this so this was not a press junket, that we wanted fair representation, but we wanted, with the letter that the chairman and I sent to the mayor, we didn't put it in the press or to other people on purpose because we were trying to have some negotiation space. They make it seem like, from what I could read from the article, as though we were not responding to them. I want to make it known that I did not hear from anybody in the mayor's office until Sunday evening. And I actually brought my phone, and we all know our phones have timestamps on them. And I responded, and that was from Mr. Conway, who was the chief of staff, and I responded and told him I was not the chair, and that Sam was the chair, and said, well, I couldn't find him, we couldn't find him, so we're calling you. I said, I'm not going to make any decisions, I can't, and I'm going to talk to Sam. I talked to the chair. He and I talked all Sunday evening, worked together. We had gathered names that we had sent through the freeholders process. And then Conway said we could meet. I got up and met with him at 8:30 yesterday morning, and I also carried those names that we had suggested in to his office. But they had been put through the regular process also. So I'm disappointed to read the article, and I'm hoping that maybe the Post got it wrong, as though we were not responding to them. That is not true, and nor did we try to make it a press issue. That is what they're doing now. And And I will say that I'm disappointed that they're more concerned about the people that they have nominated rather than being fair to the people, the many, many thousands of people that live in North St. Louis, that they're trying not to have any representation. So I'm disappointed, but the reason we're going to recess is we're still trying to work with the mayor's office and try to work something out, and we will do it down to the last moment. So for them to be insinuating that either myself or the chair did not work with them is not true, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves, whoever put that out. And I know they got press people to put misinformation out, but it does not help with negotiations when you do this kind of things, and we went out of our way not to do it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Muhammad.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the efforts of you and Vice Chairwoman Tyus on trying to make sure that we get more representation on the Board of Freeholders. I can tell you personally, I will not be voting to approve any nominations until we get 4 or more nominees that reside in North St. Louis. This city is majority black. Majority of our black population resides in North St. Louis, and I think that it's only appropriate and fair and equitable that we make sure that North St. Louis is fairly represented on this board. Something that Alderwoman Tyus has alerted me to earlier this year, when you look at all the boards and commissions throughout the city of St. Louis, all these boards that make important decisions when it comes to zoning or industrial development, so on and so on, on all these boards, North St. Louis is not represented at all. And the Board of Freeholders will be another super PAC commission that will decide the fate of our government and our government services that people in North St. Louis rely on the most, but we have no representation on the board. It's a slap in the face to our constituents. It's a slap in the face to the mayor's constituents as well. And I'm just disappointed that we could not come to an agreement. Again, I thank you for your leadership as well as Vice Chairwoman Tyus. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Alderman Gunther.
No comment.
Alderwoman Pam Boyd.
No comment.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
No comment.
Alderman Narayan.
No comment.
It's back to me again. I am actually baffled by this process. And I continue to tell you that I think it's one of the most unfair. I've been down here 14 years. And I think it's one of the most unfair processes, a shadow of better together. This is just, to me, a sneaky way of putting in better together. And I was asked by one of my colleagues, I won't say who it is, why are we getting rid of asking for 4 black people to be taken off instead of taking off some whites. It doesn't matter if they're black, blue, green, or white. We have the right to choose who we want to choose to represent us from our various wards. And everyone didn't turn in a person, so we have some names that we want to submit, and we should have 5. I asked for 5. We compromised with 4, and we're down to 3, and they only want to give me 2. Until this process is fair, it's going to continue this way because I need to have 3 or more people on this board. And I'm not picking anyone, and those that was chose to be taken off was chose by the mayor, not by this committee. So I'm call for this committee to be recessed until tomorrow at 2:30. Can I entertain a second on that?
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we recess this committee hearing. I hope all of the members, I'm sorry about you keep coming back and forth, But until it becomes fair, it might be two of us sitting here. But it has to be a fair process, and this process is not fair. So, meetings we'll recess until tomorrow.